Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, obviously the topic is very clickbaity, but I have learned these three things when it comes to why people stall on, when they are on a carnivore diet or even a keto diet, when you expect to really just drop the weight the moment you cut out sugar and carbs, but somehow, the number on the scale is not moving. But if you really focus on the title of this video, why you still can't lose weight on a carnivore diet, I think first thing that I need to address is that if you're only focusing on the number on the scale, again, it may not be exactly what you are looking for, because ultimately most people, when they say they want to lose weight, it's they want to improve their body composition. They want to maybe look leaner or fit better in their clothing. And again, this doesn't mean that dropping the number on the scale will give you that. Sometimes having a number go up on the scale is going to help you achieve the body image that you want. So I guess the reason why I name it this title is also because it's what commonly people talk about. So before I go into the three reasons why you're still not losing weight on a carnivore diet, I would just like to clarify on this, the meaning of losing weight on a carnivore diet. Losing weight, it's not the only indicator. So if your goal, again, not tying into the number on the scale, if your goal is to improve your body composition, meaning to say you want to have leaner arms, you want to have tighter glutes, you want to have a shapely thighs, you want to have like a cinch in waistline, it doesn't mean that you have to drop the number on the scale. So losing weight, it's not the only indicator here. A more accurate, or maybe my ideal or preferred way to look at this is, how do you look fitter? How do you look leaner? It doesn't mean that you have to drop the number on the scale, meaning to say you need to lose weight. Another more accurate term that I would categorize this would be, you want to achieve fat loss on a carnivore diet. You want to improve your muscle mass. Again, muscle mass may not be very ideal for a lot of women, because they still have this impression that, oh, I don't want to look bulky, I don't want to look too muscular, but actually there is a link to that, which I will cover later on. What's most important now is, if you're still stuck, you're trying to lose that number, you're trying to lose that few kg, that pound, you really want to lose weight, but and you're on a carnivore diet, everything is, you have been going through it for like months, you've been keeping it clean, somehow you still cannot drop the weight. I hope that these three reasons why and my recommendation is going to help you to break through that stall. Okay, so reason number one, your gut is not healed yet. Okay, so this is something that I didn't really know about only much later on in my carnivore journey. So if you're new to my video, I have been on a carnivore diet for 3 years and a few months now. So I really saw along the way people who have been doing carnivore in the community. Obviously, I follow along their journey. I keep myself updated, with their experiments, and I noticed that there's this side of the carnivore community that really focuses on gut healing, and I stick true to that. And that is something that I've experienced myself, is that if you come from a background similar to me, where you used to be on a lot of antibiotics, medication, or you have autoimmune issues, but especially medication, because medication does ruin your gut a lot, especially if you used to have like history taking a lot of antibiotics. So that was my experience. And on top of that, if you used to take a lot of Accutane, which is the holy grail of treating acne, severe acne. So again, if you don't know my history, I will link it in the video. I'll link it in the description box below. I was on Accutane for a few years before I really went on Carnivore. So when you're on Accutane, for sure you will know that it wrecked your gut. It really messes up with your system. So why you're still stalling on a carnivore diet, in terms of why you still cannot drop the weight or can't achieve your fat loss, is because your gut is not healed yet. It is not able to absorb all the nutrients that you are giving it through like high quality meat, through like eating clean, not eating any processed food or sugar or like those bad carbs. When your gut is not in balance, it's not functioning well, it's not going to absorb all the good nutrients that you give, and which is why you don't feel satiated. There's a lot of this like advice in the carnivore community saying that eat all the fat that you want, eat a lot of protein to feel satiated. I know some of you that still have that feeling of, wow, I've been eating a lot of fats, like tons of butters, tons of beef suet, which is the beef fat, or like eat very high amount of protein, and still somehow you don't feel satiated. This is because your gut is not healed yet. It's not in the place where it's able to absorb all this protein, amino acids, all the building blocks to your muscle, so that you can have increased metabolism. It's not being absorbed, right? So it's not going to give you that output or the kind of energy or the kind of, well, speaking of energy, it's not going to give you the kind of energy that then is going to get you more active to speed up your metabolism, which is why you're not seeing really the body recomposition or the fat loss that you're looking for. So the people that I work with on the side, and even for myself, I noticed that when I really focus on my gut, trying things like digestive enzyme, when I thought that, hey, you know what, going on a carnivore is really elimination diet, why should I even be taking digestive enzyme? I noticed that was the thing that I was lacking in order to feel satiated. And again, when your body is able to absorb all the nutrients and you feel satiated, you won't be bothered by, oh, you know what, I still have cravings, I need to eat again, So that is a very small thing that a lot of people bypass. They don't realize. They thought that going carnivore, eating tons of meat is going to help them with everything. There are certain aids on the side which is needed to help you to adapt. So digestive enzyme is really one of the things that I see helping a lot of these people that are still kind of having stalls in their fat loss journey. So I don't really have any particular brand, or because I'm not sponsored or not affiliated with any of them, but the ones that I'm actually taking, in my previous video, I think I talked about Source Naturals, but I'm currently taking this Healthy Gut Holozyme. So this is actually one of the videos that I watched a few months ago, from, if I'm not mistaken, is Carnivore Yogi. She was interviewing this gut expert, and then like for me, right, it's not about the weight loss journey or anything, but it's more of I just needed my digestion to work well. And I can honestly say that it doesn't mean that the moment you go carnivore, right, your digestion is completely fine. So when I tried this, and knowing the kind of OCD person that I am, I wanted to make sure that my body is really absorbing all the nutrients. So when I took the digestive enzyme, I really felt like my energy was a lot greater than what it is already. And I must say that I feel a lot more satiated. In the past, I used to be able to, and I needed to eat a lot more protein, especially on those days that I work out harder. But nowadays, after taking the digestive enzyme, I just feel like my body is lighter and I feel more satiated with lower amounts of protein. But when I say lower amounts, my protein intake is still, really at a higher level, because that is what I feel best in. And then something else that I would actually recommend taking if you are not already on it is a good probiotic. Again, if you have a history of taking a lot of medication, you know that your gut is still not in a good place, trying a probiotic may be that thing that you actually need for 2 to 3 months time for you to really feel that satiation, that improved metabolism. And like I said, it's for your body, your gut, to be able to be healthy again, to absorb all the nutrients that you're giving. So I take probiotic from I think it's Microbiome Labs. I've tried many different kinds, recommended by my functional doctor here. He really emphasizes on natural healing, and so this probiotic is, I must say, is actually a winner for me, especially when it comes to skin health. This I can talk about it on a separate video, but this is from Microbiome Labs. I've tried 3 different types of probiotic, but it's all from Microbiome Labs. One of the very popular one is the Megaspore probiotic, which I think generally works for everyone. So that is one that I would actually experiment with. Okay, moving on to the second reason why you're still not losing weight on a carnivore diet is that you are doing too much cardio. Okay, so I'm very passionate about this topic is because I'm a fitness fanatic. I love working out, and so I've tried many kinds of workout, maybe except those suspension bands, like or things like Pilates. That's never really been my thing. I love things that are a little bit more challenging and fast paced, which is why I went into things like HIIT training. Not really CrossFit. CrossFit to me is a bit more extreme. Like bodybuilding style has always been my type of workout. Okay, anyways, before I go off tangent, one of the reasons why a lot of people are still stalling with their fat loss journey on the carnivore diet is because they are doing the wrong exercise, and maybe they are focusing on the wrong exercise too much. I know too many people that just really focuses on cardio, like I'm gonna go for a run, I'm going to spend a lot of my time just on the treadmill, and it's you are exerting and burning a lot of calories doing it. You can be running for a few hours, doing cycling for a few hours. You're burning really a lot of calories without much intensity. That's why you can go on for quite a long time. The thing is, if you do this over and over again, your body is very smart where it adapts to this metabolic state that you're putting it in. I'm no expert in this area, but I've learned a lot from Mind Pump podcast. I will link it in the description box below. These guys really talk about how much they don't value the use of cardio, especially people are looking to improve their body composition. They're trying to get fat loss. Cardio is really not the way to go. So I'll try to concise what I mean by this is that again, if you spend hours running, jogging, of course like cycling, right, you're burning a lot of calories. And then if you actually also attempt to eat lower calories, right, you are putting your body in a state where it's functioning at only a certain amount of calories, meaning to say again, it is also in science that when you do long hours of cardio, like this, like long distance runners versus people who sprint, they look completely different. Maybe I'll insert a picture somewhere. You will see that the sprinters have a lot of muscle, and then those that are long distance runners, they look a lot more not so athletic. They don't really have a lot of muscle, right? So these people, right, their body is being trained to to conserve energy, to function at a lower calorie, meaning to say you teach your body to really you put your body in a state where it's very efficient at burning all these calories, right, that it want to conserve energy. It will try to protect itself because and especially if you try to cut your calories. So for example, you go on a run 3 hours, 4 hours, and then you burn massive amount of calories, right? And then you don't really eat enough to kind of like fuel it. Your body would then be so adapted to the state that it's being put under, meaning to say, oh, I'm only at 1,000 calories, a very low calorie state. Your body will adapt to it, and it will pare down muscle to adapt to that state. You will look smaller, but you wouldn't have enough muscle mass to keep your metabolism high. And think about this, if you are doing hours and hours of cardio, which is not sustainable, because this is something that you have to do for the rest of your life, physically exerting yourself, can you imagine doing that like on a daily basis, right? Your body will come to a state where it's going to try to conserve all the energy as it can, because it knows that it's being put in a state where it needs to keep exerting this energy. So it needs to keep it on a survival mode. So the thing is, when you really do yourself when it comes to cardio, and then you're going to affect your hormones, and sooner or later you're going to go into this binge phase where, you know, your ghrelin which is a hormone that you have, which is your hunger signal hormone. It's going to start messing up with the way you eat, the way you sleep. You're going to have all these like cravings and binge moments. So your body is going through this yo-yo up and down situation. And so at the end of it, when your body tries to strip the muscle from your body from doing long hours of cardio in order to sustain itself, you would not only just lose muscle. We all know that, or maybe this is something that you just learned, is that when you have more muscles, you tend to burn more calories, because muscles do help you to burn a lot more and keep your metabolism high. So if you attempt to do long hours of cardio, cutting down your muscles, eventually your body is going to run on a slower metabolism, which is not going to be sustainable long term. And perhaps by doing tons and tons of cardio, you're putting your body through this long hours of cortisol and stress, and which is one of the biggest reason why people don't get to achieve their fat loss goals, because your body still needs to be in a state where it's balanced with its hormones, where it feels safe, in order for it to drop the fats. So doing too much cardio is really one of the most common thing that we've seen in the space, where people are just focusing on, I'm going to run for hours and I'm going to burn a lot of calories, which is what they think is going to contribute to the weight loss, when in actual fact, it might help you achieve that result in 2 to 3 weeks time, which is a very short stint. And then you're going to gain it all back or even more, because your body is very good at adapting. So that is the reason why I am like an advocate of really muscle building and really maintaining the muscles that you have in your body, eating enough protein. Is because, just think of it as your muscle is like an insurance, you know. It's supposed to help you speed up your metabolism, burn all the calories, and even dispose glucose if you are a carb eater, automatically on its own, because that is what muscle does on your body. So when you have more muscles on your body, you don't have to worry about, oh, I need to go and do like my 5 hours of cardio in order for me to burn calories. Actually, when you have more muscles, it's going to burn a lot more calories even when you are resting and not doing anything. So that is going to be a smarter choice, meaning cut down the amount of cardio and focus more on strength and muscle building. Okay, so let's talk about the last reason why you are still not losing weight on a carnivore or keto diet, is because you are not tracking. I am sorry to list this reason. I was thinking hard about it, because I know that tracking is a very sensitive thing in the carnivore community, because I'm sure you will see all the advice out there is, oh, don't track, you know, just intuitive follow what you feel is right. But a lot of us are so messed up with our lifestyle that intuitive eating becomes very inaccurate, right? So, and a lot of us are not very aware, and because of the kind of environment that we're living in, where everything is fast paced, everything is always changing, it's so hard for you to be aware of the things that you're actually doing. So if you're still stalling, you're still not at where the body recomposition goal that you want on a carnivore diet, maybe it's time to try something you have never done before. It's to track. I know tracking can turn people crazy at times, especially the OCD people, but an OCD like me is able to do it because I also learned the downside of it. But here are some ways that you can actually track and slowly get a sense of where you're at. I think what I'm trying to say is, if your goal is, I'm not tracking because I want to control everything, it's more about I'm tracking because I want to be aware of where I'm at, and then slowly, right, fine tune and along the way let go of that tracking method, because you still need a form of guidance at the start before you can start to be intuitive. Does that make sense? So what do I mean by tracking? It's not just, oh, I'm going to download my FitnessPal calculator, I'm going to weigh every single food that I eat, and then I'm going to look at my macronutrients to make sure that, my protein is 50% and blah, blah, blah. It's more to that. I think what I'm trying to bring forward here is that you're fully aware of how much you're eating and what kind of foods that you're actually eating and how it's making you feel. That kind of tracking, right? So, of course, there's not really an app for this unless you want to start a journal, or today I eat chicken breast, it makes me feel, you could do something like that. But you can download things like Chronometer and FitnessPal. Again, very clear on your intention and your goal. It's not that you're going to see this number and then it's going to determine whether you fail or you succeed. It's more about having a sense of where you are at. So to give you an example, my husband is, he's doing keto on and off, and he always has the impression that he's eating enough protein, right? But because I used to track a lot, so I'm able to kind of gauge the amount of protein or the grams that is there, like what's the serving size. I would know more or less because of my experience. And so he will always have this, and he's not a person that tracks, he always has this impression that he's eating sufficient amount of protein. And mind you, this guy is 6'3", he's 193 cm, super tall. He needs a lot more protein, and I'm actually eating a lot more protein than him. And so he has the impression that he's eating a lot of protein because he feels very satiated. And you see, okay, he's eating chicken breast, right? Lean chicken breast. And so when he can't finish eating the chicken breast at one sitting, he thinks that he's already hitting his minimal amount of protein. And when we actually calculated it, he was actually not eating enough protein, which translated to later part of the day where he felt more, there's more cravings, he's not so satiated by nighttime, he'll wake up in the middle of the night. So when we realized that, he wasn't fully aware of the protein that he was ingesting, that was already one part that we could take control of, is to just track at the start to roughly have a gauge of how much protein you're actually at. Maybe that is the only thing that you're lacking, is that you're not eating the minimum amount of protein that you should be eating. So that's one way that you can use tracking that can benefit you. And then of course, serving size is another thing. Again, using him as an example, he would want to be very, very practical in the sense where, he will order things from like McDonald's and Burger King in terms of the beef patties when he was doing carnivore at one time. And he would actually think that patty is about 100 grams, or no, actually he thought it was higher. He thought it was 300 grams. And I knew in the back of my head, like, this cannot be 300 grams patty, right? And then again, you don't know if the patty is the leaner kind of patty or is the one that has more fats, because that is when the calories and the macronutrients will change too. So when we actually measured it, it wasn't even 300 grams of per patty. It was actually 180 grams. So if he has the impression that it was 300 grams, he would be eating a lot less, thinking that he's hit his required amount, and when in actual fact he did not. So these are just very minor examples of why, you know, when you don't track and you don't really know what you're eating, it's putting a stall to your weight loss, fat loss journey. One last thing that I wanted to mention is that, because I was on an elimination diet where I wanted to find out what are things that are triggering my histamine, where I get a lot of rashes, right? Even when I was still doing carnivore, you know, like sometimes I would eat out, but I don't really, but this was at my beginning stage of carnivore, where I didn't know about people actually spray like freaking sunflower oil on the steak before they grill it. So this is only when I found out only when I decided to be a difficult person at restaurants, you know, because every time when I eat at home, when I'm the one making my meat, as in like cooking my meat, I clearly don't put any like seasoning or like spray any oil or try to put a tiny bit of like non-grass-fed butter on it. I will feel completely fine. But every time when I eat out, when I think that it's clean, because clearly I asked for a steak without the sides, I will still get like a bit of acne. I will still get like rashes, which didn't really make sense to me, because like, come on man, I'm just eating a steak from a restaurant. I'm not eating anything else. How could it be? So I became very meticulous in the sense that I started asking some of these restaurants that I frequent, like, hey, I just want to know, do you use any oil before you cook it? Do you spray anything? Or do you grill it on a, you know, that, do you grill it together with other meats that were marinated? And lo and behold, they do. And they didn't know that I was actually sensitive to that, because clearly I don't include it as part of my instruction when I actually order my food. Because in the past, I would just, you know, tell them, hey, I just want a strip loin steak. Don't give me the size. I don't need the salad. Just separate the dressing. I will not specify in the sense where, oh, by the way, I am allergic to vegetable oil and butter. Can you not include it when you are cooking or grilling the steak? So like yesterday, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I had a really amazing steak at one of the restaurants in town. And then I actually told the waiter, like, hey, I'm actually sensitive to all these ingredients. Can you tell the chef to just grill the steak plain with salt, plain and nothing else? And then he went in and asked, and then he told me that the chef said, oh, it's impossible to grill the steak without putting oil on it, like olive oil or sunflower oil. I'm like, oh no. And then I of course emphasized that I was sensitive. And then okay guys, I'm not gonna die if I accidentally eat those things. I just won't feel as great. But then linking it back to, you know, the topic, which is weight loss, all these small little things can actually stall your weight loss. As you know, vegetable oil is super inflammatory, right? So going back to the story, he actually went in to tell the chef that I'm sensitive, and then the chef recommended, okay, how about if I bake, you know, the steak, where he doesn't need to use any oil at all. And I was completely fine. So you see, that's the reason why you kind of need to be very meticulous and track. After you eat something and then you have a reaction, ask yourself why, and maybe you want to find out so that it doesn't happen again. It is only through this kind of consistent practice, then you will start to see that your body is healing, and then it will do that aesthetics goal that you want it to do, which is fat loss for most people. And this is usually the benefit that only comes way later on, especially those of you that are not super overweight, but you're just trying to improve your body composition. this kind of small nitty gritty kind of things that if you were to improve it, it can actually make the biggest difference. So anyways, I can feel that I'm going to rant very soon. So I hope that you find this video useful. I hope that the 3 reasons why you can't still lose weight on a carnivore diet, I hope that it will give you some light. Maybe it's something that you have not tried before. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've tried one of these. It didn't work. I'll be very interested to know. And thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.